Beneath the bed, it waits. Have you ever wondered what might be lurking beneath your bed when the lights go out? That cold shiver you feel, the sensation that something is watching you. It's not just your imagination. Tonight, I'll share a story of something that waits beneath. Something far darker than you could ever imagine. If you've ever had a creepy experience or felt something unusual in the darkness, leave a comment below. Share your thoughts, your stories, or tell me what you want to hear next. Maya had always been a heavy sleeper. Ever since she was a little girl, nothing ever seemed to wake her up. Not even the loudest thunderstorms or the harshest winds. Her parents often joked that if a fire broke out, she'd sleep right through it. As she grew older, Maya's sleep became almost like a shield, a place where nothing could disturb her. Or at least, that's what she thought. It started on a quiet Wednesday night, when the air was still and the room was completely dark. Maya had just turned 18, and it was the first time she had her own room in the basement. It felt like a new beginning. She loved the privacy, the independence, and the silence. There was just one thing, one little detail that unsettled her. Whenever she laid down in bed, she felt something was off. The feeling wasn't enough to keep her awake, but it was there. A gnawing sense that something was beneath her. Something waiting. Maya didn't think too much of it at first. It was just the odd, inexplicable feeling that creeps into your thoughts when you're alone at night. On the fourth night in her new room, Maya woke up in the middle of the night to a soft, almost imperceptible scratching sound coming from beneath her bed. She froze, her heart pounding in her chest. She lay perfectly still, listening intently, trying to convince herself it was nothing. Scritch, scratch, scritch, scratch. The sound grew louder. At first, it sounded like the faint scurrying of a rat or some other small animal. Maya told herself it was just a rodent, that it was nothing to worry about. She had lived in the house long enough to know that there were occasionally critters that found their way into the basement. But as the noise continued, something about it didn't feel right. It wasn't a random, disorganized scurrying. No, this was deliberate. Each scratch seemed measured, purposeful, as though it was trying to communicate something. Suddenly, the scratching stopped. Maya didn't move. She didn't dare to. The silence in the room was suffocating, thick with an eerie stillness that made the hairs on the back of her neck stand up. Her eyes flickered to the space beneath her bed. The darkness seemed deeper there, like the shadows stretched far beyond what should have been possible. She tried to shake it off. Maybe she was imagining things. But when she looked again, she saw something. A small, dark shape, barely visible in the blackness beneath the bed. Her pulse quickened. She held her breath, staring at the shape, unable to look away. A low whisper reached her ears, coming from beneath the bed, a voice barely above a breath. It was soft at first, almost gentle. Maya. Her body tensed. Her name, spoken with such familiarity, made her stomach churn. She had never heard anyone say her name that way before, not in all her years. Maya, come closer, the voice whispered again, this time more insistent. She couldn't move. She couldn't even speak. The only thing she could do was stare into the darkness, terrified. The voice seemed to grow louder, more urgent, as though it was pulling her into the shadows. And then, nothing. The voice was gone. The scratching resumed, faster this time, scratching and clawing from below, as though something was trying to escape. The noise was deafening now, rattling her bones. With a jolt, Maya snapped out of her paralysis. Her heart thudded painfully in her chest. She knew she had to do something, but her body was frozen, her mind clouded by fear. Slowly, cautiously, she reached over the side of the bed and grabbed the flashlight from the nightstand. Her hands trembled as she crawled to the edge of the bed, the flashlight's beam trembling in her grip. She pointed it toward the space beneath her bed. The beam revealed nothing but shadows. Her breath hitched. She had to see. There had to be something under there. Slowly, she moved to the floor, her knees scraping against the cold wood, and crawled closer to the edge of the bed. She shined the light in every corner, every shadow, but all she saw was darkness. Nothing. But then, just as she was about to move back, the beam of the flashlight caught something in the farthest corner of the room, the figure of something crouched beneath the bed. Her blood ran cold. It wasn't a rat. It wasn't an animal. It was a face. A pale, twisted face, just barely visible beneath the bed's edge. Its eyes were wide and hollow, and its lips were stretched in a silent scream. The thing didn't blink, didn't move, it just stared. Maya let out a choked scream as she scrambled back, but the figure didn't follow her. It remained motionless, just watching her, its hollow eyes never leaving hers. In a panic, Maya jumped to her feet and rushed out of the room, slamming the door behind her. She ran upstairs, her heart hammering in her chest, and didn't stop until she was standing in the living room, gasping for breath. The next day, her parents insisted that she was just exhausted from the move, that she'd imagined it all. But Maya couldn't shake the feeling that something had been beneath her bed, waiting for her, watching her. She didn't sleep in her room that night, or any night after. But the shadows beneath the bed still waited. Every night, she could hear the scratching, feel the presence of something waiting. And one night, when she thought she was safe, the voice came again. Maya, come closer. What do you think? Does this story give you chills? If you've ever had an experience where something lurked in the dark, leave a comment below and share your thoughts. What would you like to hear next?